Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. In this video, I want to share with you the biggest sign of the coming of Dajjal, coming of end of time, the Mahdi, but in particular, the coming of Dajjal, the Masih of the Yahudi, the Jew. This is going to be the biggest sign. But before I tell you what is the sign is, and this is something I have seen only yesterday. So this sign is what I have seen. It just appeared out of nowhere. Wallahi, even though it was happening behind the scene for a long time, in fact from the 1980s, but what we see right now is something just appeared, just popped up. So I want to show you, I want to share that sign with you, because wallahi, once you see that sign with your own eyes, wallahi, I can tell you, you will be surprised, if not shocked, and it will be very heartbreaking for us at the same time. Before I tell you the sign, I want to make mention a few things to you first. Number one, we know that Sulaiman alayhi salam, he built the temple, or he actually rebuilt it. It was built by Yaqub alayhi salam. The Masjid Al-Aqsa was built originally by Yaqub alayhi salam, and then Sulaiman alayhi salam, he rebuilt it. He refurbished the temple. We know that for the Muslims, this is the fact, this is the reality. Then we know in the 1980s, as I mentioned, a group of Yahudi, they tried to destroy, or actually they tried to attack some of the Muslims there, not destroy the masjid yet, but they tried to attack. They were trying to create some commotion. They were trying to create some chaos so that the Muslims will not pray there. In other words, they were discouraging the Muslims to pray in Masjid Al-Aqsa. Eventually, even though they gave up on those kind of attack, petty attack, nevertheless they continued on with their sinister plan to eventually get rid of Masjid Al-Aqsa. Okay, and that is happening since when? 1980s. That was a long time. Now, few conditions that must be met for the Dajjal to appear. And this is what will bring me to my sign, the sign that I want to share with you. 5 conditions actually that must be met for Dajjal, for the Masih, the Antichrist to appear, according to the Yahudi, not according to the Muslims, according to the Yahudi. Number 1, dear brothers and sisters, is that the Jew, they must gather and they must be brought back to the state of Israel from all over the world. If you are a Jew living in a country, it's a Muslim country, for example, it could be Afghanistan or any other country where we have Yahudi, the Masih will not come. The Jew, all of them, has to be in the state of Israel before the Masih will come. That is condition number 1. Condition number 2, they must, okay, this is very important, and I will talk more about this in this video. They must rebuild the 3rd temple. That is condition number 2. Condition number 3 is that the Yahudi, okay, they will observe God's commandment. All of them will follow one God, one true God. Number 4 sign that must be met is all will come to acknowledge one God, including the non-Jew. Everyone on earth must know one God. And number 5, the Masih, the Dajjal, according to us, he's the Dajjal, but for them is the Masih. He will come at a time when there will be peace all over the world. Okay, these are some of the, actually the 5 conditions that must be met before Dajjal is here, according to the Yahudi, not according to, again, it's not according to the Muslim. Now, I want you to take a look at this particular video, then we can talk more about it, inshallah.
America's ambassador to Israel has come in for criticism after he was seen posing with a rather controversial gift. David Friedman was presented with a photograph of one of the most sacred places in Jerusalem. But the image had been altered to show the Jewish 3rd temple on the site where the Islamic AL-AQSA Mosque and the Dome of the Rock are currently situated.
Okay, so pay attention. This is the Dome of the Rock. This is the Dome of the Rock, okay? And this is not the Al-Aqsa Masjid though, but this is what symbolizes that the Muslims still have some authority over Masjid Al-Aqsa. When this one, this ambassador to Israel, the US ambassador, he replaced even that dome with temple. This is the temple they must build. If you can see on the screen, this is the temple they must build before Antichrist, Dajjal, is here. And this is exactly what he drew.
The 3rd temple is a biblical reference to a new place of worship to replace an ancient one which was destroyed. The US embassies asked for an apology, saying the envoy was unaware that he was being given a doctored picture. The region is still reeling from deadly protests against the relocation of the embassy to Jerusalem.
I want you to see this other video, okay? Because this is something that is also very, very important. And this is the sign that I was talking to you guys about. Okay, once you see this video, then you will know what the video is about. Before I play the video, I want to give you a few background information about this particular video. As I said, the Yahudi, they are waiting for Dajjal. They're preparing for Dajjal for a long time. Since they occupied East Jerusalem, they are there now. They're trying their best to get rid of Masjid al-Aqsa. In that place, they want to build the third temple. That is one of the conditions for the Messiah, for the Antichrist to appear. Now, what they are doing is they are going into the compound of Masjid al-Aqsa, not letting anyone know, very quietly, even though the Israeli government knows about this and it is illegal to do so. The Yahudi cannot enter Masjid al-Aqsa compound because this is illegal. Even though the government knows they are doing something that is illegal, nevertheless, the government is allowing them. And not only that, this time, what makes it even more severe is that this rabbi, his name is Rabbi Yehuda Gelik, he actually live broadcasted the whole prayer in Masjid al-Aqsa. When I say prayer, I'm not saying they prayed the Muslim way praying. They were praying in their way. They were invoking their God. They were invoking the Messiah that will come. Wallahi, this is what was live streamed. He even doesn't even care who is watching, what people are thinking, because this kind of videos, he knows it will have a backlash. The Muslim will go mad. The Muslim countries, especially Jordan, because they have this waqt with Israel. And that, according to that agreement, the Yahudi cannot enter into Masjid al-Aqsa. Nevertheless, they did not care about what the Muslims will think. They are entering into the masjid compound just to get rid of it so that they can pray there and eventually build the third temple. Let's take a look at this video.
It was early morning when they entered Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, more than 100 Jewish settlers escorted by Israeli forces. It was the first time they were allowed in since May 4th. Palestinians under the age of 45 were barred from entering the complex well before their arrival, and those who were already inside were cleared out.
Look, like they are clearing out the whole premise. They are clearing out the whole area so that this, Yahudi worshipper, as you can see, they can easily enter into the compound. They can easily go there and pray. And the police of Israeli government, they are helping that to happen.
East Jerusalem have been running high since the beginning of the month of Ramadan in mid-April. It led to the 11 days war with Gaza. Ahmad was filming a young man being beaten up by police on April 28th, so bad that he had to be taken to hospital with broken ribs. In the mayhem, she didn't realize it was her son Ahmed.
Look, they are not leaving anybody.
Him after the ambulance took him away.
They are not going to spare anyone. They are not going to spare anybody. Whoever will come on their way. They arrested this guy, this young guy, Muslim guy, and she looks like he's the mother.
Border guards are stationed in 3 locations overlooking Damascus Gate, the main entrance to the old city. Here, tempers flare up at a short notice. 2 teenagers were held as we were standing by. There was no apparent reason. They are not even
sparing any young teenager. I mean, regardless who you are, how old you are, regardless whether you even understand what is going on, the moment they see you there, you are gone. Like, they will catch you, they will arrest you, and they will throw you behind bars. Dear brothers and sisters, this is the sign. When I say this is the biggest sign of Dajjal in our time, I mean that. And when I say that, the explanation for that, the reason, the excuse for that is the fact that the Yahudi, they are now entering into Masjid al-Aqsa compound. They're praying there because the masjid is on top of the Mount Temple. If you have been there, you know it. The masjid is on top of the temple. They do not want the masjid to be there. They want to completely get rid of it so that one of the conditions can be fulfilled before the coming of Dajjal, their Messiah, our Antichrist. As we talk about the coming of the Mahdi, Yajuj and Majuj and whatnot, this news, dear brothers and sisters, one day you will wake up. Wallahi, I was thinking about it. One day you will wake up from your sleep and you will read on the newspaper there is nothing called Masjidul Aqsa anymore. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. That is going to happen if we are not aware. We still have time to make dua, to do whatever it takes to create awareness, so that this virtuous masjid that was mentioned in the Quran by name, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned it by name, will not be destroyed and forgotten by the Muslims. Jazakallah khair for tuning in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.